And a good morning. This is Dr. Levin speaking to you from Portugal, from Vila Moura. We've got a sunny day today, very windy, but sunny day today. And I promised that I was going to do an analysis, it's a big word, just do an evaluation of the audio which Richmond posted. Now, right up front, he posted this in a very vacuum, obscure environment because he's muted anybody. So he is asking right as out of the gate that we need to trust because he doesn't lie, okay? And yet he doesn't reply. Not only had he muted me in that group, but he has since thrown me out. He has since thrown out several of the key investors in Tornado Rising. That's very, very concerning. He has refused and cut off all communication with me. Now, what is even more sad, Billy has done the same. No more contact I have with them on WhatsApp. They simply cut it off, and I have the screenshots to prove it. They've cut me off on Skype. They have cut me off on Telegram. They do not respond to phone calls. I'm trying to reach out and say, let's reach a peace. I guess I must be thinking about Peachtree in Atlanta. No, a peace agreement. Because if this will continue in this way, that they're kind of hoping that this whole thing can be shoved under the rug, and they're going to kind of try to do a coup or a takeover, everybody's money will be screwed. And I am here first and foremost to protect your money, my money, the trust, the reputation. Good God, the hours that I've put in and the gift of formulas that I have given, they're in the hands right now of questionable leadership, no doubt about it, and we need to bring it back. But this is going to have to go quick. You know, I usually address things immediately. Well, anyways, objective ultimately today, and I've got people praying for this, I've got people taking practical action on this, is to reach out to Billy and say, Billy, talk with Dr. Levin. Don't shut him out. You will make a mistake if you shut him out. You definitely are making a mistake by calling Dr. Levin a liar. Whether this will reach Billy or not, we don't know. And if it reaches Richmond, is he gonna simply pretend he didn't reach it or receive it? Possibly, I don't know. And then again, you never know. I want to give everybody a chance. If they're serious about wanting to still preserve Tornado Rising, preserve the investment that so many people have made, 1,400 people, that's significant, and we shouldn't even be talking about inviting other people in until we can assure that what the people have invested in, this is the people's money. It's not Billy's money, it's not Richmond's money, it's not my money. I've put in blood, sweat, and tears of work like nobody else, but there is the investment of other people, and there you cannot screw around, and it needs to be handled with extreme security, safety, and assurance that nobody with sticky fingers will ever come around. Billy, a long time ago, if there is ever hanky-panky that will happen with the money, that I will become worse than the devil himself. And I mean that. I will not take another scammy admin, try to molest, kidnap, waste, or let alone steal other people's money. I don't think that is Billy's intention. I think it's actually been blown out of proportion. They claim it has to do with another program. It has nothing to do with another program. It has to do with the fact that Billy is trying to keep private some actions by Richmond, a backstabbing by Richmond, and that he's trying not to have these things go public. Well, if they went public, I already know the authorities would jump on it. So I'm open to that. However, I'm not naive when it comes to other people's money. Yes, there is high questions at this point, and just because somebody puts an audio, you think Richmond's audio assures us that the money is safe? Are you kidding? That, the fact he's doing it in a muted room shows, and he has been removing key investors, really earnest, loyal people. He's removing them. That's dangerous, smelly, fishy. So, I want to start off with a short audio right here. That is an audio that Anita from the UK sent to Billy. And you kind of get a feeling of the caliber of people that are following me and have, based on my say-so, invested in Tornado Rising. Let's take a listen to what Anita says here.
This is a message in response. Billy, my name is Anita Lorraine. I've not been involved in these other programs, Smart Way or the TR group that you're referring to. So, and I came into Tornado Rising, if you like, the second time round. And there is something that really disturbs me about your audio message, and I'm asking you, in the name of the God you profess to believe in, to come on a Zoom call with your community that you say you love and look us in the eye and answer the question, did you or did you not confide in Leven that you had been backstabbed in the manner that Leven describes in that audio? Because that matter he refers is not about a playground squad. And I'm keeping this out of small. I'm here about what has happened in Tornado Rising. And there's something at the 3-minute 50 mark in your audio that disturbs me. Because we are not talking about a playground squabble here. We are talking about a criminal and a legal matter. And to say that if this has happened, it is personal to you and nobody else's business is wrong. Whatever program we're talking about, because you set the culture, you set the ethics and the standard, and it is this to which we subscribed and believe in. And then you had somebody like Leven lovingly during your absence and your the trauma that happened with your car accident, and I hope that you are gaining in strength and feeling better. But you had somebody there who laid his heart and soul on the line to put so much into that program to truly cause it to rise like a phoenix. My to the truth. And I would like you to come on to a Zoom call with the members and answer that question from the bottom of your heart in the presence of the one you say you believe in, because this affects us all. You cannot say that this is a personal matter. If I steal from you, or I steal from Leven or anyone else within Tornado Rising, that is a serious matter, and I would not expect to be in the group. So it cannot be one rule for one or one for and a different one for somebody else. So please, I am imploring you to come on and speak with the community that has showed its faith and showed its trust, invested its heart, its soul, its money into this. And I'm asking you to look us in the face. As far as Tornado Rising is concerned, and this particular conversation, and speak, and tell us the truth.
So
Leven,
clearly, I think if you have any sensitivity to people that speak the truth or speak earnestly, that you can hear that Anita is not kidding. She's speaking not only from the head, but from the heart. And anyways, Anita has a unique perspective. She's traveled to to the Algarve here. She has spent an entire week here, and so she knows me personally, and we have that week talked about some of the deepest fabric of life itself. So she isn't just hoping for my integrity or my honesty, she knows where I stand, and she'll happily speak with anybody. She'll speak in any court of law if need be, but let's hope it doesn't need to come to this. So I said I fully agree, Anita, strong words. Actually, no, sorry, this is Christophe from Belgium. Fully agree, Anita, there are strong words. Let's see how leader Billy and company will react now. I would expect a Zoom call also within 2 days from now, and tell us a clear message, the next steps in TR, some clarification. So now we come to this quite infamous 13-minute audio by Richmond. And I'll tell you one thing, as much as Anita refers to a hesitation in the voice of Billy, which indicates that Billy is not a sophisticated liar, I have a different viewpoint of Richmond. He's calm, he's at ease. If you didn't know better, and if you didn't know the complete facts, you would actually believe this guy. He's that good at concealing elements he doesn't want you to know, and then here and there cutely skewing. You know, they always say if you're a good liar, you should inject plenty of truth in there. Boy, does he know that technique. But there is some very interesting particles in there. So let's do it and go through it right now.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Richmond.
So he starts off with a statement which isn't even, Richmond has never introduced a call that way. That's Billy's signature statement. Okay, that's fine, that's smart. Kind of sounds like he may be saying what Richmond told him to say, right? Or he wants to sound like Richmond. Like Billy. You know, he's not the CEO of the company, by the way, in no way, shape, or form. I know it said that in that group, but in any case. So, here he does Billy's signature statement, and he uses it.
I just want to clear some airways real quick. Guys.
Okay, he wants to clear the airways real quick. Guys. Well, guys and girls, hopefully.
I never stole from Tornado Rising. Okay? I never stole from Billy. I know Billy for.
Okay, so I never stole from Tornado Rising. Okay? Okay. No matter how often you state something, and if I was the prosecutor in this case, I would immediately reply, have you attempted to steal? Because Billy did discover and pulled him out of the admin panel and stopped to have access. But Billy went into shock that his own best friend had dared to try to do this. Now, I know details. Now, in the respect of trying to achieve a peace agreement with him, I'm not going to describe the details, but I have the details. Anybody who wants to speak to me privately, I have the details. Billy knows I have the details. Billy claims that it isn't true what I say. Billy, the trembling in your voice indicates that you know that you did and confide into me, and that I know the facts, and that I speak the facts accurately, but I will sort of put a blur over this at this stage. Now, if it comes down to the agencies and the courts and everything else, good God, I will go into so much detail you have no idea. So, any time that somebody says, I didn't do it, okay? It's a little bit like, you mean you don't trust me? Huh? Okay, let's continue to listen.
For 20-something years. Okay? I never stole from Billy or rising up to now.
So, second repeat. He kind of insists that you just accept that. Okay?
Okay? I spend money from day one to now in Tornado Rising.
He spent money from day one in Tornado Rising. I'll be very clear. In the new version of Tornado Rising, Richmond didn't spend a penny. Now, I too was gifted a Ruby package, so was Billy, and so was Michael Colucci. Now, Michael has more than compensated all the mail, the amount of people he's brought in, the amount of money that he generated, and definitely I can absolutely say the same. My numbers are open and indicative there. I have brought in a tenth of what I've earned, and that's so. But that Richmond invested into this new Tornado Rising, that he invested money, is not correct. Okay?
Why would I come and steal from Tornado Rising?
Why would I come and steal from Tornado Rising? Indeed, Richmond.
I never did. Alright? And I'll never do that. If I'm going to steal, I will actually go to my father and steal from my father.
I'd have to agree. A couple of people have said that's a very weird statement. If I want to steal, I'll go steal from my father. Okay.
Because my father is a millionaire. If you guys don't know that.
So the fact his father is a millionaire, would it make it okay to go steal from him?
I actually go there and steal from my father. Not some Tornado Rising or from Billy. Okay? You know?
Okay, so that okay is every time you have to believe him. So he didn't steal from Tornado Rising, but if he wanted to steal, he'd go steal from his, millionaire daddy. Okay? But I wouldn't steal from Tornado Rising. Weird as heck.
I like to work hard. I'm a family man. I like to work hard for me and my family.
Okay, there I will back up Richmond. He is a hard worker. I know that for a fact. I've talked with him many times while he was working, while he was driving. In the middle of the night. I take off my hat for anyone who is willing to work in the middle of the night. And to work for his family, I honor anybody who does that, and I honor Richmond for that. So yes, there he is speaking not only the truth, but honorably.
And that's what I'm best at. Not going around stealing. I will never steal from nobody. I never did. And I'm not going to do it now. Now.
Okay. It would be nice if we could believe that. Let's how do they say, benefit of the doubt?
Let me explain why that Levine trying to demolish me.
Okay, so now he is already assuming that I'm trying to demolish him. I have better and higher callings, Richmond, than to demolish human beings. One, it isn't my task. I mean, do you even know what you're saying, that I'm trying to demolish you? I'm a firm believer, if anybody would demolish you, it would be yourself. And if in terms of demolish, if you're talking about defamation, your reputation killing and that kind, there is the courts, there is the agencies and all of that. So, wrong statement, Richmond.
When he says he's going to demolish you.
And that I say I will demolish him. Richmond, flat out, he says I'm threatening him. There isn't a single threat in what I've said. And he'll bring screenshots where I speak strong, but those are not threats. This, Richmond, you're doing this, you need to correct this. If you don't, I'm going to come down on you with just about everything that I have a right to come down on. That's not a threat. That's saying it as it is. That's putting your cards on the table. That's also putting Richmond in front of the mirror, trying to see what Richmond is doing and what the consequences will be of his actions.
It's a company called Smartway. Smartway.
Just in clarity, he will now create what I call a smokescreen. He will make it seem that this whole thing is about Smartway, and it isn't. I agree with him that it originated, my suspicion, not just suspicion, my disgust, developed in Smartway, but then I found out something is the only reason I'm doing now, trying to protect Tornado Rising, the monies of the people, is because this has nothing to do with Smartway. And Richmond don't use that as a smokescreen, but I've asked somebody to do a count on the number of times to say boss here. And anyways, I don't mean to be funny. It's just, okay, let's listen to your smokescreen.
Dr. Levine found out about Smartway. He told all his leaders. He didn't consider me as a leader. He didn't told me about it.
Okay, right there he slips in a tiny little detail that everybody kind of would make it sound like I left Richmond out, right? I told Boss and I told all of his leaders, but I didn't tell Richmond. That's kind of what he is spinning. Oh, it's so smartly done. You're sophisticated at it, Richmond. Reality, I told two people, and they were the active people at that time in Smartway, and that was on one hand, not in Smartway, active people online in the programs that we were doing. It was on one hand Christopher from Belgium, and on the other hand this boss who is Sebastian Newland. He uses aliases. I think his recent alias is Sebastian Gray, because he's got kind of platinum hair like mine. So, Richmond is pissed off maybe that I didn't introduce it on that day, but guess what? Boss turned around and introduced Richmond. So, I didn't, I normally don't approach an owner of another company. It turns out Richmond is not the owner. But at least he was supposed to be in leadership, and so, okay, I get it. He's upset that I didn't first go to him and then go to my other active people, but very, very clear. He makes it believe I left him behind. I didn't. I knew all too well he came in, and he is in Smartway.
One of his leaders named Baz and told me about it, and I liked the project, I liked the concept, and I got myself involved. Good. And I told a few people. All right. Now, not knowing the company have a second part to it, which is you have to sign up again. So I didn't know that till later on. When I got into the business, I got to find out finally the business was life. And Dr. Levine texted me that, hey, you have a top position, and I would like to come in. I said, okay, no problem. I didn't know you have to sign up for the leader. I was like, no problem. And then I'm like, okay, let me talk to the person who introduced the business to me, because it wasn't Dr. Levine who introduced the business to me. It was one of his leaders that introduced the business to me. So, not knowing, I didn't know that Baz and Dr. Levine, they had a fight, and Dr. Levine blocked Baz.
Okay, so what he says is correct. So it is Baz who introduced him, and there had been a conflict. I was in a second phase. I had given Baz a second chance. He had lied to me before, misled, manipulated. It's in his DNA, and I had thrown him out. I go fairly radical if people really mislead. And then several of Baz's followers who had already seen my style of transparently and supporting a team were begging me, please give Baz another chance, give Baz another chance. I normally, when lying happens, see, my professor used to say, honesty is like pregnancy. You cannot be a little bit pregnant. And I adhere to that. I come from, on both sides, my mother's side, my father's side, it's long lines, long generations of honesty, trust. I mean, there is banking involved, there is jewelry involved, you don't get into these professions without having trust in the community, having the community trust you. So for me, I've been spooned honesty from day one of my life. It's been a very tough trip to discover that a lot of dishonest people are out there. And then there is those even in business who say you cannot be too honest, Gee whiz, what a wild jungle, huh? So here, so far, all correct, except, yes, and it is correct, boss had violated by not joining this new son under me. He had chosen somebody else. So, and then he blames me that I have chosen somebody else. No, I have my sponsor, Michael Colucci, and Michael was asleep and also hadn't been in communication for 5 days. And I saw no problem whatsoever to join with one of the other leaders who is at the top in the program. And Michael is totally cool with that. Heck, he'll come in and testify to the fact he's cool with that. He's already done that. Richmond will spin this here. You'll hear it in a moment, where he'll use that as if I violated Michael Colucci, my sponsor. I didn't. Michael and I are doing several programs together, and we're cool with doing what we're doing. Now, boss, I approached. Boss refused, immediately stuck up his nose, and so joined somebody else. And here, Richmond had joined behind boss, claims to this moment that he had been misled or led to believe by boss that boss was under me. Okay, so I'm not denying anything that Richmond said prior here on this Smartway deal, and sorry to talk about another program. By the way, the deal in Tornado Rising has nothing to do with Smartway. It was just the instigator, it was the trigger that made me discover something which was a hell of a lot worse even.
From his group. But I'll reach out to Bas and say, hey, Dr. Levine want me to sign with him, is that okay with you? And say, no, I'm the one who, Bas say, he's the one who told me about the project, so I got to sign up with his link. And I said, okay, as a leader, I understand, I'm going to sign with you. So I signed with Bas. And then Dr. Levine also, as soon as I signed up and I paid for my project and I brought some few people on, Dr. Levine called me that, hey, I should forget about Bas, I shouldn't sign up under Bas, I should sign up with his link. And I said, no, I'm up under Bas, and I already brought some of my leaders, and we are already paid already, so there's no way we can do that.
Okay, let's take this literally. And he leaves out one detail. Within 30 minutes of this new module having started, 30 minutes, okay, I confront Richmond that he is under a misleading sponsor, a sponsor who leads him to believe that he was sponsored by me, but in actuality, boss had gone off and done his own thing. Unless Richmond had coordinated this with boss. I don't know that. But I'm confronting Richmond with the reality. Boss is definitely, absolutely not signed up under me. He's chosen somebody else. Now, please, Richmond, in light of the elite team where we've been providing support and all the things that we typically do in an elite team environment, just because boss chooses a non-loyal decision. And by the way, I was online, boss was online, so it was, comparing this to Michael Colucci is poor excuse, Richmond, but so Richmond keeps saying it's impossible to correct this. Try to imagine this. It's impossible to correct this, and we're only 30 minutes into the program. You know how easy it would have been? And I gave him the instruction. Here is my link. Sign up your leaders. Keep the positions under a boss, but let's re-establish a correct line of sponsorship, and let's move forward with that. And he refused, and he refused, and he refused all Saturday long. I hoped on Sunday that he was going to come to his senses because it's church day for him. Actually, that's where he said he didn't want to hear about it anymore. So I told him that I've made him a ton of money already in Tornado Rising. At the moment, Tornado Rising, he is marked as my sponsor. Richmond is not my sponsor. This happened by administrative, and he kind of didn't want to create any problems. But Richmond, in other words, has been collecting over and over again on my efforts. If anything, Richmond should be loyal to me in all programs. But he obviously doesn't feel that way. And here he refused and refused and refused. And I go very strong. Threatening? No. I always tell people, I'm not threatening. I'm lining out what the reality is. And, people are free to choose, but they're not free of the consequences. I'm very good at consequences. But little did I know that there was much worse lurking around the corner. Let's first listen.
And you were like, I should forget about that because Boz is a criminal, he's evil, he's this, that. You call Boz all kind of names.
Well, Boss is disloyal. I didn't call Boss a criminal. I call him disloyal.
And I said, okay, I understand that Boz didn't sign up under you. The Boz signed up. So,
all of a sudden, in other words, not all of a sudden, but Richmond admits here that he knew that Boss had not signed up under me. Okay?
Under somebody, and I told Boz. So at the end of the day, it was Boz who told me, so I signed up with him. I ain't told him that I was.
Meaning, he jumps over this, meaning Richmond knew that Boss had not been loyal or respectful or maintained sponsorship integrity. Anybody who's been in the network marketing business knows exactly what we're talking about here. And he's kind of jumping over this, or indirectly he's kind of saying, well, it's Boss's mistake, right? Not correct. And I gave him the chance to correct it.
I'm going to use this link to sign up again with a second account or something like that. He didn't want that. He wanted me to sign up directly under him and forget about us and tell my people that are money to leave those accounts and come and pay different money under him. So I should pay money under him and let all my members come and pay money under him so he can also make money. I said, okay, no, I cannot.
This is first of all, they just got started, so we're talking about peanut money. Secondly, they not only did I tell them to cancel or leave the sign up under a Boss. Guess what, Richmond? It's on the blockchain. The reason this program is on the blockchain, so nobody can erase it. So whatever was dangling there under Boss, let it dangle. Your investment is not wasted. It will bring some return. However, built correctly under the team, the elite team, and all the people believing that you're an elite team member.
I do that because my people don't have money to come and sign up under you and pay money all over again.
And by the way, we're talking about $10. Okay, the program is for Sage, or the module is for Sage. It's a module of, so they don't have $10 to do a re-sign up, and we're only 30 minutes in when I told him to correct this. No, he had no intention to correct it. That is why I suspect he had already planned this with Boss. Boss is a sneaky devil. That I will deal with Boss in a whole other way. Believe me. And Boss is he's digging his own grave at the speed of light. Yeah. But I don't want to make this recording about Boss. So, Richmond here is talking about SmartWay as if this is the problem. And we're going in detail on SmartWay, and I'm commenting on detail because He's leaving out pieces that are kind of essential, but you will see and hear, and I'll point out exactly where, that this has nothing to do with SmartWay, the conflict in Tornado Rising.
This is impossible to do.
To sign up $10 under me and get his leaders to do that. What kind of leaders would they be if they haven't got $10? Are you joking? It's impossible to do. But if you leave out the details, people go, oh, they invested thousands of dollars, they could not reinvest. And he added so he could make money. I wasn't interested in the money, I was interested in the morale, in the ethics. He could have done the right thing there.
This is where everything started.
That is correct, that's where everything started, but it isn't about that. That is the trigger, the instigator.
He talked to Boz and he told me that I have to come and get involved with this project or join under him directly, or he's gonna blackmail me, he insulted me.
Blackmail, is this a racist thing, Richmond? White male, blackmail, I told you do the correct thing. That's what I kept repeating. Now, truth hurts. I know that.
He says he's going to put me in jail. I'm a criminal. I'm this and this and that. He's going to destroy me. Yeah.
I didn't tell such thing until I found out that there is some shady things which Richmond did. And we're going to get to that. So he's kind of mixing the timeline. But, he needs to, disqualify me as a quote-unquote testimony, right? First of all, he puts this audio in a muted room, so nobody can comment on it, especially me. And he says, I didn't steal you, okay? And he's the bad guy because he blackmails me, and what else did I do, Richmond?
That's okay. What did I do for you to do all those things? Because if you have problem, you shouldn't bring that on me, because you should bring that on Boss. It's you.
See, he's blaming it on Boss. The disloyalty of Boss of signing up with somebody else, when Boss was a direct sign up in SmartWay with me, one of two people, and he chose them to go with another one, but this Boss is a whole other creature, a warm little reptile. But Richmond is hiding behind Boss's behavior, and even though he knows that Boss did wrong, he doesn't want to correct his own position. Richmond, you cannot skip over details.
And Boss doesn't have the problem. Boss is the one who told me about the project. You didn't. You got to find that.
That is correct. But when Boss goes disloyal, when Boss jumps off a cliff, you're gonna jump off a cliff too, Richmond?
But I'm under you through Boss. So it's not you who told me about the business. It's Boss who told me about the business. So I don't know what you're talking about. So if you have a problem, go ahead and face with Boss.
I don't know what you're talking about. He says that Boss had done a wrong thing and he was now following in suit, knowing that Boss had done a wrong thing. So therefore, him now justifying his wrong, also hang it on transfer of guilt, right?
So that can even begin to send me all type of message, insulting me, doing this, that. If I'm going to follow Boss wrongdoing, then he's going to demolish me. He's going to mess me up. He's going to do this. He's going to do this. And I'm like, whoa.
See, he's going to mess you up. Show me the screenshot, Richmond. It's going to demolish you. I don't use that word, first of all. But go ahead, show me the screenshot. Lie, little lies he injects. And all of that. Well, you haven't said anything that is the truth, other than I have begged you to make the right decision. That you could say.
This guy's being crazy right now.
Not crazy, very insisting.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I heard a lot of things about him. A lot of people call me and warn me about him and stuff like that. I'm like, well, you never showed me his true color, so I can never. I'm somebody, you got to show me your true color for me to say that, okay, you are. Because in life, a lot of people make mistakes and change. But apparently this person, I guess who is he? I mean, it's not going to change.
I don't change. I have not been any different. By the way, I do show my face on webinars. I don't go with noisy background so people can barely understand what they're saying. I don't hide behind anything. I'm about as transparent as they come, and so all of a sudden now he's known all along I'm this sinister character, but he's tolerated me until he sees my true nature. You know what my true nature was? I insisted that Richmond would do the right thing. It would be a day he would remember where he knew he had done a wrong and wasn't going to correct it. Blamed it on boss because it was boss who had done the wrong thing. No. When your sponsor goes to do an unethical thing, you don't follow your sponsor to do that unethical thing. Keep it simple, Richmond. And keep it factual too, please.
You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of people warn me about this guy.
See? This is cute, huh? Oh, he'd been warned about me. Yeah. Go type in my name on Google and you'll find out there is some hotheads. You can imagine if I confront people on issues of truth and stealing and all of that, I do make enemies with that. That's inevitable. And so there is plenty people calling me a scammer. The people of Banner's broker threw me out with an account of 15 million and they called me a scammer, but they're the ones in jail today. So, Richmond, tread carefully here.
And I say, well, this
And by the way, when I say tread carefully, I'm not threatening you. There's a difference in the word. Tread is walk carefully. Not threatening you with that, because Mother Nature is there, God is there. If you do the wrong thing, you always get the consequence. We're living in a fair system.
It never show us his true colors, so we can never do that because we are human beings. We all do a lot of things in our lives, you know, but you give the benefit of doubt to people, and that's what we did. And guess
that I again have to honor that there is a lot of rumors about people, and you need to figure out yourself if that person is. Heck, if I was what everybody has said, I've been in quite a popular totem pole for people to throw rotten eggs at. In Belgium, we have a saying for that: high trees catch a lot of wind. I've caught a lot of wind. Yeah.
what is happening now? I guess it's us to blame, right? So now, you know, I wake up then one morning that he's saying in the group in front of 2,500 members saying that I stole from Tornado Rising and you guys money in the risk, which I never did. I never stole from nobody.
Okay, see, here it goes the sophistication. He can say this. He did swallow in his throat, didn't he? If you go back in the recording, you'll hear. And that's, even the sophisticated liar, there's still little signals. But he was getting ready to make his false statement. That he never, and again, as a prosecutor, I would go, Richmond, are you saying you never attempted to steal? You never attempted to manipulate something in the back office of Tornado Rising? In the admin panel of Tornado Rising? Are you going to claim that you were never blocked afterwards by Billy from going into the admin panel?
Okay? I never stole from nobody, and I'll never steal. I work hard for my money, and I'm continue to work hard for my money.
Never stole. Never did anything wrong is kind of the big paint stroke, right?
I don't have to go around and steal from nobody. If I want an easy way rap, I would go where my dad is, because my dad is with him. If you guys don't know that, I would go where my dad is, and be lazy and bow down to him and spend some of his money. You know what I'm saying? But I work a 9-to-5 job at the same time doing network marketing. If you guys don't know that, I have a 9-to-5 job and I still do network marketing.
Okay, there he's saying he chooses not to follow his business activities or whatever, and I would assume he has his reasons for that, which is none of our business. And instead, he chooses to do a 9-to-5 job. Actually, Richmond, I'll say to your honor, you're doing even better than that. You're willing to work in the middle of the night. And I honor you for that. I repeat that. You're a hard worker. That is correct. And you choose not to work for your millionaire daddy. That you must have your own reasons for that.
Okay.
Now, to want to go steal from your father, I still understand that. That you say, I wouldn't steal from Tornado Rising, but if I wanted to steal, that part, an enigma.
Because I am not a lazy person. I don't need to go and steal to feed my family, because I do got family, a wife, and kids, okay? So I'm not going to do that.
Again there, 100% my support. He is a hard worker. He's not a lazy person. And he is honorable for wanting to do that for his wife and kids. I got not only no issues with that, I respect that. Richmond knows that I've respected that. And we had conversations while he was driving at night. Sometimes long conversations. That's why, when all of a sudden a person like that then throws all loyalty out the window after you've had all these conversations, after you've had helped them. I mean, I've put many thousands. Look at all the withdrawals in Tornado Rise. He's $5,000, and a lot of it is thanks to my activity. So you expect loyalty there to continue, but here he chose to go with Boss, who is not a loyal individual. And he knew it, that Boss was, but he still excuses it. Boss was not loyal, so I followed him because he was my sponsor. Wrong line.
All right? And now, he has said all those things, and Billy said Billy's going to come and address the issue that I did to. And Billy came and put a voice note that I didn't do, because apparently him and Billy had a long conversation, and he wanted Billy to follow his footsteps, to accuse me, so he, all those things, and to kick me. He told Billy to kick me out.
Right there is the hesitation. I wish this thing, unfortunately this audio, and I'll gladly redo an audio in a true professional audio analysis, because here I would be, I don't know if I can click and go back. Anyways, here is the facts, so you got the backdrop of the facts. After attempting to get Richmond to do the right thing, from within 30 minutes of when I noticed that Boss hadn't signed up loyally, that Richmond hadn't signed up loyally, I told Richmond to correct it. After trying, I lost, I was exhausted, I not only lost courage in seeing Richmond, trying to get Richmond to do the right thing, I called up Billy and I told Billy, I said, man, people. Billy says, tell me about it. And I said, you won't believe what happened. Richmond decided to not join me, but to join with another team, and refuses to clean it up. Literal words from Billy. Tell me he didn't say that. I know the words he said. The words of Billy was, I'm not surprised to hear that about Richmond. I go, Billy, you're not surprised. And I can hear that Billy is hesitating. And I say, Billy, he says, Leven, you will not believe what Richmond did. Now, I will again blur this, not too much. I can go into detail word for word what Billy told me. I won't, not right now. I will if this goes official. because truth cannot be camouflaged. But I do believe, actually, and I want to temporarily continue to believe, that Billy may not want this wrong action. This has nothing to do with Smartway. This has to do with a very wrong action that Richmond undertook, that he doesn't want that to go public. For whatever reason, he wants to protect Richmond. It could be because he wants to give Richmond another chance. It could also be because Richmond has been threatening Billy. It could also be that Richmond has dirt on Billy and they kind of, they're in a conundrum together. I don't know, and it's none of my business. I sense, but I may be wrong, that Billy may just want to keep this thing private. Let's state it this way: whatever Richmond did and that Billy told me he did was wrong, very wrong. And if Billy wouldn't have found out, it would have meant that a lot of money would have been funneled away out of Tornado Rising, wrongfully. And those things, that's where it gets serious. The Smartway deal, well, okay, they were unethical. They were not very moral, not moral, and not loyal whatsoever, but that's secondary to, in an area where it pertains to the money of people in Tornado Rising. Good God. I protected like a Rottweiler. Told Billy this from the beginning. If any hanky-panky ever happens with the money, I become her. And am I threatening? No. But I know how strong I can come down. I've been around the block, and I've dealt with criminals. And I've been stolen from many times. So there is a point where you say, if you know that somebody is going to steal or jeopardize or put in unsafety the funds of other people, you're not going to stand for that anymore. Let's get back to the audio with Richmond.
That kicked me out into the Rising. So him and Billy can leave. And Billy did not agree with that. And Billy came and said the truth. And now he's going after Billy now.
Billy came and said the truth. Well, I disagree with that. The audio that Billy dropped into that group said that what I said didn't happen. Sorry, Billy. As much as you want to keep this private, do not tell me that what you told me that you didn't tell me that. You can do that, but that's wrong. That then becomes a lying, and then calling me a liar over that, not very pretty. I know what I heard, Billy. I heard what you said. I'm willing to not have it go public, but you cannot deny what you told me. I mean, you can try, but my word against your word. Hey, I know what I heard. You know I know what you said. So, this is indeed, Richmond kind of cutely skips over that part. Let's see what he's saying next.
I have a lot of message from a lot of people saying he's going after Billy a criminal. He's trying to protect me. Protect me from what?
Well, that I kind of almost have to agree with. That I've told Billy, if he's harboring somebody who's trying to steal from Tornado Rising, that will not go in an environment where KYC know your client. If you're harboring somebody who is potentially jeopardizing funds of other people, Billy would end up in jail, and Richmond would end up in jail. See, this is, you don't need to threaten people, you just have to show them the reality of what's coming. And that's true. You can't harbor people. I'm okay that Richmond would continue in the program. I don't want him as my sponsor. I don't. Because that's incorrect. He never was my sponsor, and he shouldn't be sucking up these monies based on my efforts. But I'm okay that he earns in his own way, but he should never ever come close to the money. And if Billy will not be able to reassure that, the program is gonna go anyway.
what? Protect me from what? So we all just need to, see the picture here.
See, somewhere he's been assured by Billy that Billy will deny what Billy told me, and he's now already standing on that. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't steal anything. Well, I repeat, did you attempt to steal? And the answer, I know, Richmond. So, but since he is certain that Billy will not speak and confirm what he told me, what Billy confided in me, he's, see, I didn't do anything wrong. Come on, Richmond, I know, you know, I know, Billy knows I know, da-dee-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Those people that know how aggressive he can be.
Oh, I can be aggressive. You have done right for truth and for honesty and integrity and to protect people's. I'm a Rottweiler and worse.
Okay, you know how aggressive he can be. Now, he claimed that, Boss didn't sign up under him, but listen.
Okay, now he's going back to that Smartway deal. Smartway deal was just the instigator. The trick has nothing to do with the risk in tornado rising.
At the same time, he did the same thing to Michael Colucci. I heard that Michael Colucci is the one who brought him to Smartway. And the other.
See, now he's kind of saying, well, I know I joined the wrong sponsor, and I blame it on that sponsor because I didn't know, all bullshit. And he's now trying to transfer that onto me. I didn't sign up under Michael Colucci. I couldn't have signed up under Michael. And again, Michael is cool. Michael hadn't been around for 5 days and was not online at the time. Forsage came as a surprise. You all know that to be a fact. But anyways, this Forsage and Smartway has nothing to do with me stepping in strong when it comes to Tornado Rising. I have a lot more stake in Tornado Rising than I do in Smartway. As a matter of fact, the ownership in Smartway is undisputably of high integrity. They have their program on the blockchain. It's peer-to-peer, meaning member-to-member, so the admin cannot even put their fingers on anybody's money. And we should eventually do the same here with Tornado Rising. Then we would never have that risk anymore.
The second part, guess what? He didn't sign up under Michael Colucci when he signed up under somebody else. See,
right here, you see how he's trying to blame me? Go ahead, Richmond, I'll bring in Michael Colucci. Michael has already made some statements regarding you and Tornado Rising, okay? I know where Michael stands. Michael and I have a very, very trusting relationship. Be very cautious throw out there with people who, you pretend to kind of know what. You're going to correct that a little bit because I think you went a little too far here in throwing dust at me.
Well, somebody told me, I don't know for a fact, but that's what somebody told me.
See, isn't that how they did the impeachment? Well, I don't know it for a fact, but somebody told me, and that person doesn't know it for a fact, but he heard it from somebody else. Transfer. Aha.
Other somebody, but Michael Colucci didn't care. Michael Colucci went about his business doing his own thing. He never he signed up under him or not. But he did.
Michael and I are tight, respectful, and loyal. Get it?
This guy is, I don't know what's going on, but I remember to sign up or something's going on. So.
Isn't that cute? I don't know what's going on. You shouldn't be continuing to talk about Smartway. You should be talking and addressing why this whole thing blew up in Tornado Rising. Because I got information of something that happened, which is a hell of a lot more serious than all your blah, blah, blah about Boss and Smartway and Michael Colucci, because that is actually all irrelevant. Yeah, it's a violation of morality, of integrity, of loyalty, but nothing in comparison to putting the money of the members at risk.
But hey, you need to just focus doing what you got to do. And, if you have a problem with somebody, it's going to need you to come to a major platform and start bashing somebody, accusing somebody, this and that. If you have a beef with somebody.
Just to put very clear, on Monday by 7 o'clock in the morning, it was Richmond who began to call me a scammer, called me a liar, a misleader, and this and that, whatever. Anyways, they've all erased it, of course. They're so cute. And in the meantime, they've thrown me out of the group.
Deal with the person one-on-one or something like that.
Which I tried, my friend. I did one-on-one with you. Like nobody in the world will have ever given you the chance so extensive to correct a wrong, but you refused. And that's why I went to Billy to explain my disappointment in you, and then Billy revealed a hell of a lot worse about you.
But me personally, I don't know why you're coming after me, because I haven't done anything wrong to you except that I didn't sign up under you. Simple as that. If you have a problem with bars, deal with bars. It's because now he said I'm following bars, so bars is a criminal, so make me a criminal. He's calling bars a criminal too. And now he's calling Billy a criminal because Billy didn't follow him.
I didn't call Billy a criminal. I said it would be a criminal act if he's harboring somebody who is doing criminal acts.
So now he's calling Billy a criminal now. He said Billy, all kind of stuff. I had message. Billy, all kind of message and all kind of insulting and blackmailing. Now he's blackmailing Billy now. The same way he's blackmailing me and this because I didn't find him. Now he's taking up on Billy now. Guys, let's be real with each other.
Here, Richmond's been perfect. He never steals, doesn't want to steal. If he ever steals, he'll steal from his father. Okay, you just have to believe it. So, he skipped all the little details. It's all about Smartway, boss, Michael Colucci, blah, 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 has all nothing to do with it. That was where it began to smell fishy, and I went on a hunt, and I discovered stuff I kind of wish I would have never even heard, but I did.
Okay, I never stole from anybody, and I will never steal from anybody, because I like to work hard for my money, okay? Tornado Rising, this right here just motivated me more to even put this together and do more recruiting and put some leaders together, and we're going to move baby to the city.
Okay, in a way, right there, that's a good thing, because for more than 60 days, Richmond has done nothing other than type in the group, "We are working." He wasn't working for Tornado Rising. He was doing many other things. He was working hard. I'm not saying he's lazy, but the numbers prove he wasn't bringing anybody in. I worked all of December and I worked all of January, I know. And I followed numbers very detailed. But now he says we could bring in people. That's not bad. Let's listen.
It's just a motivation right here. What he just did just motivate me more.
Okay. The fact that I did all these bad things, that I'm this disloyal, threatening, his true nature, whatever. Now he's motivated. Okay, alright.
Tornado Rising is not going anywhere. Okay? And
Tornado Rising isn't going anywhere. Boy, Tornado Rising is stuck, Richmond. That's reality. Reality check for 2 months. Peanut money was paid out. As a matter of fact, most of that peanut money was because people couldn't withdraw it. There was a $30 minimum, and then it was lowered to $10. But in terms of profit making, nearly zilch. I know, because I've been working for free for nearly, I think we're entering into the 3rd month now.
You guys should know that people are not coming because of this and that. Everybody has their own reasons. Everybody has their own reason. You should know that not everybody like an insult. As a leader, you're not supposed to be insulting people in groups.
In that pretty, I run dozens of groups. Many of the people in my groups have followed me there to be insulted. Who are you going to sell that to, Richmond? Come say that in front, in my groups, and see how much rotten eggs you're going to get thrown at your face. They'll rip you apart, Richmond. Is that a threat? No, that's reality. You know that. You know I have an incredible loyal following.
We all know that as a leader. Imagine if you go to your 9-to-5 job and your boss is always insulting you for another thing that you do. Your boss is always insulting you.
See, he's now trying to say I'm a boss that is insulting my followers. That's why little DAD, Danny, tried to post a video, and I now see where he was inspired, Richmond, about a boss who was screaming. And that didn't fit that video. That's why it needed to be deleted. And he reposted it again, and I deleted it again, and he reposted it again, and I deleted it again. He's trying to paint me as a bad boss. I'm a bad boss to my followers. You know what, Richmond? Reality check. Every group has a leave button. People don't leave, they actually join more of my groups. Now, some leave, and that's fine. That's what the groups are for. They can go. And yeah, I get harsh on spammers because they're parasites, and I come down like a shitstorm if somebody begins to lie. Yeah, I do use my mouth. I don't have a leaf in front of my mouth, so to speak.
How would you feel? You're not going to feel happy to work over there. The same way a lot of people feel about Tornado Rising, because Dr. Levin, the insult is too much. And Bill, I know they have warned him several times, but guess what? He is who he is.
Oh, I'm so insulting. You know what? I'll tell you who I've insulted as an example, is this Mutinda. And I have people backing this up with great detailed fact. Mitcha has the facts. They also threw him out of the group. Where Mutinda came in to complain in the group. By the way, Mutinda hasn't done anything in Tornado Rising other than he brought in 50 people who all bought nothing. Well, that's like bringing in the telephone book, right? He complains that the thing isn't moving fast enough. He complains that we're not working hard enough. He complains, and I warn him, I say, take it easy. But he's nasty, and eventually I say, listen, Mutinda, complaining here in the group in front of 1,000 people is inappropriate. If you keep it up, I'm going to throw you out of the group. Sure enough, he kept going, and I threw him out of the group. He's then put back in the group, and he begins to complain again. Anyways, good example. You have to be a hard ass against people who just ruin a program. And if you call me a boss because of that, and a boss that screams at you, you're very acutely misleading, Richmond, and you know it. I'm harsh in my rooms to people that disrupt the good business and disrupt it for the environment that the prospect really wants. Complaining, allowing complainers without a basis. Now, if they have an issue and they have a suggestion for a solution, that's not a complaint, that's reporting. But you know the difference in terms of the people who are in my groups know all too well that I'll rip apart anybody who knowingly wants to disrupt the peace in a particular.
Yes. He's going to cuss, he's going to do whatever, he's going to insult people that hate who I mean, you know, everybody can see it. So people don't want to come out and do anything anymore.
Because I told Mutinda to quit complaining. You know why I did it? Because Mutinda kept going, 1. 2, I didn't want 200 Mutindas. In my groups, people appreciate when I tell a complainer to stop, and if they don't stop, I'm going to take them out. And then when I finally take them out, all of my members, Richmond, appreciate me for that. Go to a concert hall and go open up your mouth there and make noise and disturb the peace and the beautiful symphony for other people. They'll gently ask you to leave, and if you keep blah, 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 they're going to kick your ass out on the street. That's what you expect of good security. I run my groups in that fashion.
But I know if we come together as a team, we can build another Rising, because it's not a one-man show. Trust me. Network marketing done in a one-man show.
He is trying to pretend that I am claiming that Tornado Rising can become a success as a one-man show. Why do you think I brought in 230 people or 240 people in Richmond? Because I brought a one-man show. Why do you think I support teams so diligently? If you can show me even 1% of the time and effort in production of videos, of graphics, of explanations, of answering Q&A, if you can show me that you did 1%, then you could open up your mouth. But I do, and I have. And while you were doing nothing for Tornado Rising in December, nothing in January, I was non-stop. Even though I wasn't getting paid, I was doing it over and over again. I asked people to post their payouts. They didn't. Well, guess what? I found a way to post their payouts anyway. This, you know, the videos, the Tornado Rising, I've produced them. You know, the Zoom calls. People say the only meaningful Zoom calls are the ones I've given. Because I've made the Zoom calls, yeah, you put in your hours to prepare a PowerPoint. Why isn't Richmond doing this? Why isn't Billy doing this, putting in the effort? Billy, I forgive because he was sick and he was recuperating. But don't tell me that I'm this badass people and people are stupid to follow me in these programs. Because you know you're blowing smoke out of your ass. Look at what a badass he is. He dares to use words like this. We're almost done, guys. Good frickin' God, we're over an hour already.
Man cannot bring a lot of money to the table. One man cannot do that. But guess what? Working together, we can. Think about it. One man cannot bring a lot of money to the table. But working together, we can bring a lot of money to the table.
That is true. But it needs to be in a safe environment with no hanky-panky with the money. And not where you block people who have contributed more than anybody else. And I'm not just talking about myself. Look at the other people that you've blocked. I mean, Richmond, you're going to have to unblock us one way or another. Or you have no future. No, it's a reality.
So we can get things done. And we can move the line. I'm just addressing this issue to let you guys know I never stole from anybody, and I will never steal from anybody. Okay? I work hard for my money. I got a 9-to-5 job, and I do network marketing. I work hard. How come all these years I never stole from Tornado Rising or stole from Billy, but now, all suddenly, I didn't join the Delta TV. Now I'm a criminal. Oh.
No, Richmond. You backstabbed Billy. Now, Billy is willing to cover up for you, and I honor him if Billy is honorable. We have to prove that. Because calling me a liar in public is not the way to do this. But, Richmond, you know what you did.
Well, now I steal something from Billy. I steal something from Tornado Rising. Come on. And I'm sorry for listening.
Yeah, come on. How could he have done something, right? See, this is where he basks in his... He knows Richmond isn't going to talk. You know, when one wrong act is covered up by somebody who says, no, there is no wrong act, they kind of got a cover, right?
All those
kind
things in the Telegram group and all those things. As a leader, you know, if you're a leader, you're not supposed to do that. Let's be
Richmond, you're so cute in a muted room.
As a leader, you're not supposed to do that in a platform like that. In any platform, I don't care if you're Tornado Rising or not. In any platform, you're not supposed to do that as a leader. If you call yourself a leader, you're not supposed to do that.
You know what, Richmond? You would have never done what you did to Billy and to Tornado Rising if you were a leader. You're a capable man. You're a hard worker. I'll acknowledge you that. But what you did, you better wake up to realizing that. And if Billy is willing to keep that quiet, you'd better honor Billy for the rest of your days. Because I'm not that forgiving when it comes to acts like that. If you had done that in Marriott, you would have been kicked out on the street and blacklisted. Anywhere in the world, you'd never get a job with Marriott again. That's reality.
You're supposed to deal with the problem with the person you're having with. Okay? And I'm sorry that you guys have to hear all those things and all this, and And even bring the community. If somebody want to join, people are not going to join because you guys have to realize money have to come in, money have to go out. If people don't join, how can payout go out? Let's be real. With all this right here, how can somebody join a business business that is fighting among each other, doing this, insulting and this and that? It's not going to help. So we can come together and build another horizon together. I just want to clear this airway. Thank you so much. You're listening here.
I guess I have to thank you as much for listening, one, to that recording of Billy, which I'm sure most of you already had, but secondly, listening to my injections in between. I hope you've heard where he uses SmartWay as the smoke screen. It's not about SmartWay. It's about what went wrong in Tornado Rising. It's about the backstabbing of Billy, and I'm okay that the backstabbing is not made public if we're assured that the monies are going to be secure. And I do agree, not with Richmond, but with the principle that if we all do work together constructively, and I have constructed Tornado Rising, the formulas, so I know the program works, I know the power of the program, and yes, if we work constructively, that's by the way that I had already committed prior to knowing what was the hanky-panky that went on there in the back office. I had already agreed to 7 weeks every day, 7 days a week, to devote to bringing motion back into Tornado Rising. That commitment was already there. I put it in question with all the shit that's been happening. Hopefully we can clear out the shit. We do it. So, folks, I'm writing this out. This is an insanely long. I guess I do know why I did it. Is I promised I would do it. I didn't know that it was gonna to analyze. I mean, this is to analyze a 13-minute video. But if you want to get perspective, I guess it can take an hour and 32 minutes. We're not quite there yet, and I'm not going to make it that long. So let's quickly wrap this up. Thank you definitely for listening. I hope before they do the Zoom call, if they're going to do a Zoom call without talking to me, it will be stinky, smelly, fishy. That I can guarantee. I hope that this message, not the message this, but the message that I'm open to a peace agreement with Billy, and that they reach that message and that they act upon it. If they don't, they will show more of their nature to cover up fishy things. That's it. Thank you.